Bright QT. Every student matters.
I have a few questions for you. Name the following. You have to identify which particular joint or part of the body I am talking about. First one, the bones are held together at the joints by strong, stretchy bands. So, between the connection between the two bones in the joints, there are these strong, stretchy bands which will hold your bones together, which will keep them together. What are these bands called? The next question is, the joint allows movement in one plane only up to 180 degrees. This particular joint, I'll give you a small hint, is present in your elbow. It will show movement in only one plane. I can move my elbow in only one plane, that is 180 degree. I cannot move my elbow backwards, so that means I cannot move my elbow in a 360 degree plane. So you have to identify which bone or which joint is present in your elbow. Third question is, the joint allows very little movement. This particular joint is there in your body and it will show very little movement. And the last is the type of joint in which the wrist or ankle joints belong. That means you have to identify which joints are present in your wrist and in your ankle. Let us check the answer. The bones are held together at the joints by strong stretchy bands, and these bands are called cartilage. Cartilage is very, very important in holding your two bones together, which are present at the joints. The next is, the joint allows movement in one plane only up to 180 degrees, and this particular joint is the hinge joint. It is the hinge joint which is present in your elbow that it will show movement in only one plane. The joint allows very little movement. So these are the fixed joints which will show very little movement or no movement at all. And the last is the type of joint in which the wrist or ankle joints belong. It is the hinge joint. In your wrist, in your ankle, you have the hinge joints. Let us discuss a few more questions. What is a ball and socket joint? From the name itself, we know that there will be a ball and then there will be a socket. So ball and socket joint consists of a round end of a bone, that fits into a cavity or a hollow space of another bone. They can move and rotate in all directions. These joints are found in the shoulder and hip. So you have the ball and socket joint in your shoulder, which will allow a 360 degree movement because the ball in the socket can move in any direction. The next question is, which of the skull bones are movable? Which bones in your skull can move? There is only one particular bone, that is the lower jaw. It is the lower jaw in your skull which you can move. Why can our elbow not move backwards? Multiple times I gave you the example of your elbow and we saw that the elbow only moves in the forward direction. It only moves in one plane. Your elbow cannot move in the backward direction. And the reason is, our elbow cannot move backwards because it has hinge joints, which allows only movement in one direction. So it is the hinge joint which is present in your elbow and it will show movement in only one direction, in only one plane. It is not like your ball and socket joint which will show movement in all directions. In this way, there are different types of joints in our body which show different types of movements, and this is what we studied in the topic joints.